I have a question, Kyle.
Go for it.
I had a call with a buyer or a client this morning, and she was looking to buy like land and put a home on top of it, but she was only pre-approved for about 240,000. Do you guys have any advice for me on where I should take her from there to get her something better? Because I was talking to my mom, and she said that wasn't very smart of her.
Yeah, Mike said Walmart.
They have like pretty princess houses.
So we did a whole meeting. So if you guys go into workplace and type manufactured home, we did a meeting on manufactured homes with a girl who specializes in representing them. I'll do a screen share on it so you guys can, because I put like kind of the Cliffs notes of what you need to know on these. So okay, so here are the notes from it. Bottom line, they're going to need at least 20% down. Typical cost all in is going to be in the $250,000 to $350,000 range. So therefore, that means they need to have between $50,000 and $70,000 down. If you find me somebody who calls in on vacant land that wants to put a home on it that has $50,000 to $70,000 down, I will give you $1,000 because they don't. They have no money every single time. They think they can buy land with no money down and somebody's going to put a home on it with no money down. They never have any money. So it helps you to know some of this information up front is like, yes, you could absolutely do that, but you're looking at a minimum of 20% down. You're looking at a 4 to 8% interest rate. So your rate's going to be about double what the market rate is. And all in, I don't know if it's up on top here, but all in right now, you're probably 12 to 18 months to get it done. So when you can help somebody understand that like, oh shit, I need 50 to 70 grand down and it's going to take a year to a year and a half for this to happen, they very quickly realize like, okay, this isn't what I thought.
Assuming the utilities are there.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's assuming that it doesn't need grading.
No, that's with all that stuff factored in because the homes only cost like 70 to 90 grand. So
Okay.
This is factoring in, here's a lot of your norms. Grading 50 to 100,000, fencing 10 grand, well 25, 75, like.
But it doesn't include the price of the land itself.
Correct.
Yeah, that's just flopping the manufacturer.
Exactly.
That's the home, the grading, like fencing alone. Like my place I had in Ramona that was 5 acres. It was like $50,000 worth of fencing just to fence 5 acres. So people just have no idea.
They see a manufactured home like be like 50 grand, 70 grand, and they're like, oh, I can just go buy a line for 50 grand.
Right.
Buy the 70 grand home.
Right. And half the time with the land they're inquiring on is also called a hiking trail because they're like, oh, I want this $50,000 piece of land. It's like damn near vertical. Like, what do you think? They're just gonna like nail it to the side of the cliff or something and it's just gonna hang there? Like, it's crazy. So if you guys haven't watched this particular meeting, this will really help you to have a good level of education where you don't have to tell somebody like you're stupid, but you just ask a couple questions like, hey, are you familiar with how financing works in these? No, okay, well, typically you're going to need about a 20% down payment, which, you know, given the all-in cost is usually going to be around 50 to 70,000. Is that something that would work for you? Oh, no, I only have like 5 grand. Okay. The other things to consider is it's about 12 to 18 months and just ask a couple of questions. They're like, oh, I had no idea. And then redirect them and realize, did you know you could actually buy an existing home that's already built, especially the areas where they're looking at land? There's a loan called USDA. They could buy with no money down. So the better job you do of educating yourself on this process and the timing, the better job you could do of helping them understand that this is unrealistic and redirect them and realize that basically if you're from Blossom Valley East, so you guys don't know, Blossom Valley would be Harvesting Canyon and Dunbar Lane on the 8th. If they're east of that or they're Ramona Valley Center, Julian out that way, they can do a USDA loan. If you guys want to know if a property is within USDA guidelines, go to usda.kylewhissel.com. Doctor, we got a shortcut for it. New people, you'll learn that we have shortcuts for everything. So usda.kylewhissel.com. You can pull up a map. It'll tell you if a property's within USDA's category or boundaries. USDA you can buy with no money down. So if they're buying in rural areas, which is where if they're looking at land, it's going to be in a rural area. Nobody's looking at land. If there's a piece of land in North Park, it's $2-3 million.
So we should do the ALM portion of it. Just Sophia, your question, where do you go from there? You're going to know what interested in that property. They start mentioning animals and stuff. To Kyle's point, obviously USDA or other solutions or rent, like that's your kind of your two avenues. Or if it's more about you wanted a good deal on price, and maybe there's no animal, maybe agriculture and land was just a good idea. Maybe that person's willing to live in a condo, and that was just a cheap idea. That's perfect. But if they have a need that they need to own, and they need it to be under 300,000, maybe condo living for a little bit's a better choice for them. So by doing the ALM portion, you understand what interests them and what are the things they're looking at. Condo might be the next direction to go if it's not property.
Yeah, and USDA, just so you guys know, it's U.S. Department of Agriculture. So if you're wondering where that acronym comes from, so it's an ag loan effectively. So it's only in rural communities.
So that's what their USDA's purpose is.
They do a ton of things, but that's one of the components of it. So again, you can buy USDA with no money down.
So by USDA San Diego or condo or?
No, it's only in rural areas. So again, if you go to the usda.kylewhissel.com, it shows maps and stuff on there, but it's really east of Harvesting Canyon, Dunbar Lane is the easiest way to think about it. If there's like a lot of houses, it's probably not an area you can do it. It's got to be a rural area.